What up, what up? Ooh. Oh, man. The day before the most significant event in world history. Very true. Oh, man. Tweaked the back out yesterday mowing. First time this year. I hadn't even mowed yet. I was just picking up sticks. That's what I got for my 48th birthday. That and a awesome candy bar from a really awesome couple. Power couple in recovery, I do say so myself. So struggling a little bit, but better than yesterday. You know, tweaked back wouldn't have stopped me from, you know, doing stuff last year. So whatever. This walk is I'm getting an albuterol inhaler. Stop these things. Very close. 24 hours. I know that's not something I believe. I just know. Believe still kind of leaves room for a little bit of more understanding. My understanding and what I know is I'm not supposed to be smoking these from a long time ago ever, but my self-will is not good. I'm not going to stop that on my own. I sure wasn't stopping doing what I was doing last year on my own. Nor did I even ask to. So, anyway, and we're going to get some patches. Try those. Gum, whatever. There's this Bupron, Wellbutron or something. I don't know. It's prescribed too, but too many side effects with that. Rage could be one. I mean, I've raged with out anything, so don't need any assistance in that. Another side effect of that was I think it's called Bupron, and another side effect was tending to have beliefs, false beliefs that can't be changed even when presented with facts. So that's obviously what a lot of liberals and Democrats must be taking. Must be their water supply. So I don't want that either. But I wanted to say, hopefully I'll get this done before I get down to Walgreens, is owning your past, owning your mistakes, owning your choices of bad behavior, drug usage, all that. That's great. Not to be in denial about it is awesome. But also, at the same time, just because you don't live in the past anymore, or it's even very difficult to relate to that person we were in active addiction, yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to even think back on it sometimes. And admit it, we all do. We all have certain things happen during the day, any given day, that remind us of what we did and a lot of our choices, behavior in those times. Doesn't mean we live there though. A lot of times, hopefully, it could be for being like, man, God, thank you, or whoever, higher power, that I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not that person. I don't live there anymore. And that's fantastic. And for me personally, yeah, I feel like that was all completely removed from me when it came to the grip of addiction with drugs and alcohol. But that grip of addiction was only removed for those two things. A lot of the lesser evils, sugar, overeating, bad attitude, bad traits, characteristics, all that stuff, smoking, those are still there for me to work on. So it's very disrespectful, in my mind personally, to be like, oh, thank God you did all this, recovering awesome, got 100 and whatever days, but then still overly indulging in other unhealthy habits. Because I got news for you. That addiction doesn't get lifted. Once we're addicts, we're always addicts, correct? right? We've all heard that. I'm not telling you nothing new. But, because I've done this when I'm like, oh, well, cool, I don't have no urges to go get dope or drink or nothing. Fantastic, man, that's gone. But the addiction, that mindset, that craving, that release, that dopamine, you know, and the rituals of how you did it, sneaking mostly, that's all still there, but just gets transferred in other areas. Sometimes multiple areas. And if you were just addicted to one drug and lived that certain lifestyle and it's gone, that's great. But that addiction can splinter and go into many other areas. Sex, gambling, whatever. And it can be harder to really identify and notice. And we just say, well, the validation sets in where it's just like, well, at least I'm not out there robbing and stealing or doing whatever for the drugs and the alcohol. So I'll eat this entire bag of Ruffles or smoke these extra cigarettes, whatever, which could be just as unhealthy. Yeah, you're not going to go to jail for doing that, but I mean, hell, the slow suicide is still there. You're just kind of slowing down that progress. So, you know, it just doesn't stop there. That's not where the victory comes. You know, the absence of drugs and alcohol is the beginning of the real victory. And that's recovering yourself, ridding yourself of all your other addictions. And to pursue it, our addictions made us chase the high. And now we have to chase the addiction. We have to find out where it all went, what other areas it went into. You know, which can be very risky. Because I say risky because you can get frustrated. I get frustrated when I'm, you know, acting addictively towards other areas. I'm like, well, this is just kind of the same methods, the same things I was doing with my, you know, with the dope or the alcohol. But since it's not dope or alcohol, then I have to be more okay with it, or like I'm not getting hounded by it or getting the side eye or nothing like that. But still, kinda, if I'm like eating too much or eating again after just eating or smoking more than 2 or 3 cigarettes an hour, it's like, well, that addiction's still there. So that person that loves you, who's like, great, they're, you know, clean and sober from drugs and alcohol, still sees you really in active addiction. It's just in another area. And that bugs the shit out of me. Because I always used to be able to sell people, I thought, on my clean days from drugs and alcohol. You know, that's what I thought was like the main victory. But it never was. I mean, it was kind of, but, you know, thinking I would cap it there, you know, just led to other stuff, led to other areas. Which, you know, any kind of overindulgence is just kind of unattractive. Unless it's like, you know, intimacy with your partner, I guess. It kind of pays off. But that doesn't, you know, it doesn't condone all the other behaviors. So what I'm saying is, when I say I owe my past and I don't live there anymore, I can't even relate to the person who did these things and hear the stories. That doesn't, and I'm not denying my past, you know, but also at the same time, I can't deny other people who my addiction and my choices and stuff and behavior affected. I can't deny them their right, their wholehearted right to express the feelings they still have, and may have for ever, really. You know, I have to allow them to express what they're still feeling, have felt, maybe how it's changed, but still there now. And yeah, it'll pull me, it'll pull you back into that day or that week or that night or that mindset. that picture of the person he was, and it's uncomfortable as hell, and it's painful. But it's not just about us growing and becoming more of the person we really truly are, aside from addiction, but we also have to get uncomfortable and allow ourselves to get uncomfortable so other people that we claim to love can grow as well. Because if we're recovering, they damn sure are in their own form of recovering too, especially if they're back in your lives under any circumstances. Great, I'm doing great. I'm not doing drugs and drinking. I'm living great. I'm doing this. I'm going to church and all this. But how are they doing? How are they doing with not only your recovery, but theirs? How can they champion you and cheer and support you so much if they're still kind of like, that's awesome, but I'm still kind of stuck on some shit. I may be for a long time, but I got to hear about all these great things you're feeling and all these things that you're doing and involved with. But I can't throw in how I'm feeling still about some stuff. Like this, something just reminded me of something that happened 5 months ago, but you don't live there no more, so I don't get to talk about it. I don't get to tell you about how it made me feel and how it still makes me feel, because it'll maybe disrupt all the good things you got going on in your recovery. That's not fair. It's not right, and it can't happen. My recovery is not mine alone. It's not selfish. My recovery has to be absolutely unselfish to the point where we have to permit those that we love, even on our best days when we just don't want to hear about it. We don't want to hear about the stuff in the past that we did. We have to let them explain their feelings. We have to let them share. If I share at meetings all the time and on Facebook and this and that and the other, that's great, that's me, but what are they feeling? How that's not really impacting them in a positive way. My recovery can't be yours or theirs. They're in a different program altogether. Because they're watching you recover, they're watching you get clean and sober and more sane and living better and working your program, but it's not theirs. Like your growth can't be theirs. It can't cause them to grow. Whatever pace I'm at, whatever pace you're at, whatever progress we made, I can't let myself be like, well, that's good, then they're fine too. My loved ones are just as fine. I'm doing good, so they got to be feeling good, and they're okay, and I don't live in the past, so they're not going to break the past up. They obviously don't live there no more. They get to express what they feel at any certain time. If we truly love them, we let them, and we cherish that, because I'm cool with a certain level of uncomfortability, and it's necessary for growth. Okay, cool. Well, you love somebody else, they're uncomfortable with what they're still feeling and dealing with, or maybe not dealing with, but God, man, they want a chance to express it. So you're only cool with your own uncomfortability, but not somebody else's so much. Yeah, I can see how somebody else's, like your wife's or husband or kids' expression of some things that you did could that uncomfortability could be even worse than it should be than our own, because it's theirs. We're hearing their grief. We don't get to edit and censor and talk about just our stuff, to hear it from other people's views, from their perspective. That hits a little bit different, a little bit harder, and as it should. So it's not to the fact that I'm willing to be uncomfortable to a certain extent, to grow. I had to also be willing to get uncomfortable allowing somebody else to express themselves. You could be having the greatest day ever. You could have the 6-month coin today, but your loved one could be like, good, cool, that's good for you, but I'm still stuck on 0 days of your recovery. I'm still stuck on month 5 of your drug career. So when do they get to express that? You're waving a coin and some clean days in front of them, and that's awesome. They need to see that. They need to see that you're sorry with changed actions and you're pursuing that. But you got to let them in. You got to let them have that respect and time to at any given time, even on that day where you get your 6-month coin or year coin, your happiness and proud and pride that you're feeling is awesome, but it can't overshadow and prevent them from expressing what they're feeling at any given time. Because it doesn't mean they're taking that away from you. They just want you to also know that, like, okay, that's this and that and the other, but I'm still here at this certain point. So that's when it becomes a little bit different. So anyway, that's all I can feel. That's all I can think about today at this moment. I'm gonna go here and get this inhaler. Y'all be good. Y'all be good to yourselves first.